All right, what's up, guys? This is Ryan from Elevate Cyber, back with another edition of This Week in Security. As of the time of this recording, it is currently January 6th, and as always, there is plenty to cover in the cybersecurity world as far as news goes, right? There's always more and more stuff happening, and even though it's just the start of the year, nothing slowed down in this space whatsoever. So let's get right into it. We got a number of articles here. And the first one that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is an RCE bug was found in a disputed popular PHP scripting framework. Now, this is one common thing you'll notice a lot is, there's a lot of, PHP is a very difficult language to build stuff in securely. It's really difficult to build things securely in PHP just because of the nature of the language. It's a very old language, and it's very easy to make mistakes. You'll notice that a lot with the older programming languages out there, and that's why applications or frameworks built on top of PHP often have security vulnerabilities. Well, in the case of this one here, apparently the Zend framework had some vulnerabilities on it that led, through deserialization, would lead to code execution. If you know anything about deserialization vulnerabilities, you'll know that it's a pretty serious vulnerability, and if you can, if the deserialization is done in an insecure manner, you can pretty much always get code execution off of that. So I'm not too familiar with the Zend framework or anything like that. I don't know, maybe some of you guys maybe, but if you do use it, just know that this was found here. So good. This is why it's good to stay on top of the security news. There's even a CVE here as well for it. So moving on here. The healthcare industry witnessed 45% spike in cyber attacks since November 20th. I know that I've heard quite a bit about various healthcare industries being under fire at the end of last year. And it looks like that number only stands to go up. And you'll notice this a lot with attackers, is that whenever there's big world events and stuff they know a lot of people are paying attention to, a lot of times that's where they kind of use that as an opportunity, maybe through social engineering or things like that, in order to entice people to fall for their attacks, their malware attacks or whatever the case may be, right? Now, of course, with the state of things in 2020, I'm not going to say the word, and as things go into 2021, that certain disease going around, or sickness going around, I should say, that presents a lot of opportunity to attack the healthcare industry. When you think about ransomware and stuff, I don't know that this one, yeah, there you go, the Rook ransomware, right? When you talk about ransomware, you think about ransomware, right? Just think about for a second, what is the most lucrative targets? What are the most likely industries that would pay you your ransom if you're thinking from an attacker's point of view, right? Well, it would be the medical, the healthcare industry, right? Because this the sickness thing is such a high priority, and it has so many eyes on it, and there's so many people that are needing some treatment, I guess we could say. Well, it's a pretty safe bet that if you attacked one of these healthcare industries with ransomware, then they would be pretty likely to pay you the sum, right? And so you're pretty much seeing exactly that here, pretty much across the board, but definitely looking like it's more prominent in Central Europe, East Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and even North America. So pretty interesting there. But yeah, that's a trend that you guys will notice, is that a lot of these attackers are very opportunistic in that sense. So I definitely saw something like this coming. So now in other news, completely unrelated, Google Speech to Text API can help attackers easily bypass Google reCAPTCHA. Now I feel like because this is on a pretty popular news site, that probably means that this is something that's going to be looked at by Google and probably remediated. But I do know a lot of people in the sort of botting sphere, people that bought stuff like Supreme or like any kind of like these hype sites, right? Like the fashion sites and sneakers and stuff like that. And one of the things they need to do to get their bots to work to automatically buy up stuff on the drops is they actually, they need to be able to bypass the CAPTCHA, because, sites like Supreme and stuff like that, they have some anti-botting mechanisms in place, aka CAPTCHA, but the really good botters, they know how to get around it, right? So I would suspect that some of them, I don't know the inner workings of how they're doing it, but I'd imagine some of them are probably using this. This is really interesting. I just thought this was a really interesting news article, right? So essentially, it sounds like the way that it works is, well, here they straight up explain it, right? You grab an MP3 file of the audio reCAPTCHA and you submit it to Google's own speech-to-text API. And so Google will return the correct answer in over 97% of all cases. So that's pretty much just a blatant bug, right? They should not be allowing you to submit their own MP3 file to it, right? So I would imagine that this is going to be patched out soon, especially since it is very widespread news. But I'd also imagine that this was, well, it does even mention here 3-year-old attack, right? So there's probably a lot of botters and different people out there that have been taking advantage of this for a while now. So now moving right along, here it says, warning, cross-platform electro-rat malware targeting cryptocurrency users. Well, like I said, attackers are very opportunistic. And now, if you've been paying attention to the cryptocurrency space recently, you'll know that Bitcoin and even a lot of the altcoins as well, Ethereum and various other coins, they're like skyrocketing in value right now. And it's even gotten to the point that you're even sometimes hearing it on some of the mainstream networks talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Well, with all of the hype of the bull run that we're seeing going on right now, will also bring in a lot of new, inexperienced cryptocurrency investors and traders, right? And these people won't really know what they're doing. And so that presents an opportunity for attackers to create stuff like this, malware, and get basically people that don't know what they're doing to download it and hack themselves effectively, right? And so another thing that I found really interesting about this particular malware here is it actually utilizes Golang. Now, one of the selling points of Golang, one of the powerful features of the language, is just how easy it is to write cross-platform applications, right? It's very easy to cross-compile stuff so that it works on Windows and Linux and Mac and all of that. Well, now you're starting to see malware developers come out of the woodwork that are writing their own custom malware in languages like Golang and actually making it super cross-platform. So that was one of the sort of saving graces a lot of times. If you got infected by some malware, it would have to be it would have to be specific to your operating system, like Windows or whatever, right? And normally the malware authors would write the virus so that they could target the masses, right? Normally, a lot of times there are Windows, right? So if you're running Linux or something, you are typically a lot more safeguarded from malware attacks. Now, with stuff like Golang, where it's very easy for them to write cross-platform malware applications, you're not safe no matter what platform you're on, right? So see a little bit of a nice infographic here of what's going on. So essentially, they created these fake websites and stuff, or like applications, I guess I should say, and they advertise themselves as like cryptocurrency trade management applications, right? And they even named them stuff like Jam and E-Trade. Dow Poker was another one. And so people that didn't really know what they were doing, they would download these and they would actually advertise these on Twitter and Telegram. And so in Bitcoin Talk and Steam Coin Pan, so people that didn't really know any better, right? They would download these thinking they're legitimate applications. Meanwhile, in the background, it installs a remote administration tool and connects you to their C2 server and basically takes over your machine. This is basically what a rat does, right? A remote administration tool. So that's why whether you're in the cryptocurrency space or not, it's always important to make sure you know what you're downloading. Make sure you know what you're installing. Don't just install anything on your computer, because stuff like this can happen. So moving on now, WhatsApp will delete your account if you don't agree sharing data with Facebook, which that's pretty crazy, right? But this is a big problem in the technology world. These tech giants, people wonder, how can Facebook be free? How can they make money if it's free? Well, the answer is they make money off of selling your data, quite honestly. The reason that they are able and willing to offer you their service for free is because they take all your data and they sell it to advertisers. And so most of the money they make are off the ad generation, right? And so now you have like other companies like WhatsApp partnering up with companies like Facebook and sharing your data with them, right? So apparently, and if you're not aware, WhatsApp is like a chat application. A lot of times people like in European countries and Australia and stuff like that, they use WhatsApp, and I'm sure a lot of other countries as well. I know us Americans, we text message, or use like, social media, but a lot of times for their text and calls, they'll use WhatsApp. But anyways, originally in their privacy policy, they had respect for your privacy is coded into our DNA. And apparently, they're going to remove that in February 8th. I'm not sure how that was determined, but I mean, yeah, obviously if they're doing this, then yeah, I mean, how could that be congruent with this? So they would have to remove it, I would imagine. But yeah, that just goes to show you how, just be aware of what's going on here. But here's another thing too. Unsurprisingly, this data sharing policy with Facebook and other services don't apply to EU states that are part of the European Economic Area. I wonder why that would be. Well, the European Union, Europe, is the most strict on the privacy laws. In fact, I wish more areas of the world would adopt this privacy and this security, because if you live in a Western country nowadays, you basically don't have any privacy anymore. You could try as hard as you want to like be off the grid with this stuff and use VPNs and all this, but it doesn't really matter, right? Because there's so many different ways that your data is just being collected, harvested, and sold to the highest bidder, right? I mean, I don't know, just a bit of a rant here, but yeah, unsurprisingly, they're not going to do this in the EU. Why? Because legally they cannot, because they have some protections in place to safeguard privacy in the EU, and we certainly don't have that here in the US. So we'll just move right along here. This one says Chinese espionage group APT27 moves into ransomware. Now, I won't spend too much time on this, but yeah, this is, I don't think there's going to be a war in the traditional sense in the future. I think you're going to see more of stuff like this, right? Advanced persistent threats from nation-state actors, ransomware, stuff like that. You're going to see countries covertly attack each other in the shadows through hackers, basically. And so that is why it's so important to understand this stuff from an attacker's perspective. And if nothing else, to understand how to secure yourself as best as you can. Now, full disclaimer, right? If a Chinese or a Russian or whatever nation state wants to attack you, yeah, good luck securing yourself from that. But most likely, they go after the high profile stuff. But it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in the modern world with the cyber threats from nation state actors and stuff like that. I think it'll be really big. If any of you guys go into like a government sector, government role, you could be doing some top secret stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, then yeah, I guess another incentive to really learn this stuff here. And this is a little bit more of the same. nation state actors. Feds pinpoint Russia as a likely culprit behind the SolarWinds attack. I won't really dive too much into this, but I just wanted to provide this as well to illustrate, how many nation state actors we're seeing out there. This is not going away at all whatsoever. And so, another news: fourth breach at T-Mobile puts focus on security post mergers. And a lot of these people hate. I think people hate like their cell phone providers enough already. Right now, you're seeing a lot of attacks on these smaller companies. Now, there was a merger between them and Sprint, and they're kind of questioning maybe this is why they're more vulnerable, because fourth attack. I don't know what the time frame is on that, but that does sound pretty unacceptable. Just something to be aware of if you are a T-Mobile user. Personally, I'm not. But yeah, that's the thing, right? If your data is breached anywhere in one location, think about all the accounts and everything you have everywhere across the entire internet. If it's breached in one place, well, who knows how many people could have access to your data. Now, of course, you have to have a cell phone, right? But yeah, it's just, even if you take all the right precautions, I just want to let you guys know this is why you have to understand what is your level of residual risk, because you could be the most secure person in the world, and it's not even up to you. Something like this could happen, and because you have a cell phone, your data got breached. So, I have a cell phone. I'm not saying not to. I'm just saying that this is the state of the world we live in. It's important to realize that it's almost futile to think that you can be, well, it is futile to think that you can be 100% secure, but that just goes to illustrate that there. And then this article here: poor software quality costs the US $2.08 trillion. So yeah, I think this illustrates why, for any of you guys, I know a number of my viewers are also like in the software development space, or desire to be perhaps. This is why it's so important that you guys keep up with the security side as well. Get some security skills under your belt as well. Maybe my channel helps you guys with that. Maybe some other channels as well. But this is a huge issue that I see in this in the IT area here, is that you have developers that don't understand the first thing about security, but then also you got security professionals that don't understand the software development process. If you're a developer and you understand security, you're a very rare commodity in the marketplace. So you can definitely demand higher pay and have more options out there, and just be a lot more valuable as an employee if you understand not only how to write high quality software, but how to write high quality secure software. So that's pretty much all I got for today. If you've been enjoying this content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button as well. Definitely help me out in the algorithms, help get this content out there to the world, and I will see you guys in the next video.